Yes, finally talking about that Loki Season 2 finale. Again, sorry this is late. I've had a busy weekend, but now I'm finally going to talk about this. So, spoiler warning, if you have not yet watched all of Loki by now, and you're planning on watching the finale, do not watch this video, because as usual, I will be talking about what happens in this finale in detail. You have been warned. Alright, let's do it. So the penultimate episode ended where Loki learned how to control his time slipping, and so yeah, I guess it works differently now. It's no longer he goes back and sees himself in that time. No, now when he goes back, he does possess that version of him that was there. Why it works this way now, I will never know, I guess. The only logical explanation I can come up with is because he can control it. I don't know how that would change it, but in any case, it's fiction, I'll roll with it. So yeah, at first he does go back to the loom explosion, and he does try to fix the situation. He tries doing it earlier, faster, to no avail. You know, it's pretty much an absolute point. Kind of like how we learned in What If, which I actually don't consider MCU canon anymore, but it is the same kind of thing. Victor Timely keeps dying and the loom keeps exploding, and actually it does kind of make sense. Like, even after we get Victor Timely out there, and we do fix the loom, we don't fix the loom, because there are just so many infinite branches of the multiverse out there, the loom will just never be enough to hold it all. Yeah, that makes sense to me, so it's doomed from the start. So Loki comes to the conclusion, which I came to last week, he's got to stop this from happening in the first place. The point that caused all this, we already know, is when Sylvie killed He Who Remains. And so sure enough, he goes back there. I was like, holy shit, we're there. Now we gotta try to stop Sylvie again. And to my surprise, that doesn't work either. Not Sylvie wins every time. She always finds a way to get around Loki and kill the guy. So that's the point where I was like, oh, okay, well then, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna fix this problem? Eventually, Loki turns to He Who Remains and he's like, aren't you ever gonna try to stop her? Why are you just sitting there? And that's when He Who Remains realizes that, oh, this is a Loki that has been time slipping. Yeah, it turns out He Who Remains has still been in control all this time. I guess he knew this was all gonna happen. The whole see you soon bit and reincarnation, baby. There was hidden meaning to that back in season 1 and it just blows my mind. Pretty good writing there, I must say. And so this conversation that Loki has with He Who Remains right here, where he once again becomes He Who Explains a lot. Basically, he's like, this is just gonna keep happening. Again, it's another absolute point. You, Loki, you can either do this another few thousand times, or you can actually try to kill Sylvie, because she was like, if you want me to stop, you'll have to kill me. You can do that, and we can try to save as much of the sacred timeline as we can. Otherwise, we're just gonna be stuck in this infinite loop. Which, yeah, that means it's the sacred timeline or nothing. But I love that Loki's like, no, we're gonna find another way. This is his redemption right here, and it's pretty cool. I mean, I'm sure he was in this loop for a very long time. I mean, hell, even back in the loom explosion when he was like, I gotta learn about engineering, how long is it gonna take? And OB and Victor Timely are like, decades, centuries. And then it just shows on the screen, it says centuries later. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Yeah, that was insane. But it shows that Loki, he is in it for the long run. This is his commitment and dedication to be a hero. His ultimate redemption right here. In fact, I felt this redemption more than I felt like his redemption in Thor Ragnarok, for example. Although I will give him Infinity War. But yeah, now Loki knows what he must do. And he even makes sure of it. He talks to Mobius, he talks to Sylvie, and they both basically say the same thing. It's like, yeah, you gotta look at the bigger picture. This is what matters. And so what Loki does, I gotta be honest with you, this has gotta be my favorite moment in all of Phase 5 so far, which, yeah, I guess might not be saying much, but holy shit. Loki once again goes back to the loom explosion, and instead of Victor Timely going out, he's like, you know what, guys, I'll take it from here. And so he goes out onto the gangway without that big suit on, and this whole scene, the imagery here is just, it is magnificent. Because he's going out there, he gets a new look, he gets those horns back, which, I mean, yeah, I love Loki with the horns and the green cloak, but it's still like kind of a raggedy look. I was like, that's a great look for Loki right there. And he's struggling, he's like, and he destroys the loom himself, and basically he is going to take its place. Because now we see all these timelines that are dying, these loose strands, they're universes, entire universes that are just floating out there in the cosmos, and Loki is among them all. He grabs one and he realizes that he can breathe life back into them by using his magic, I guess. But right there I was like, holy shit, he really is a god right here. Because he is holding a universe in his hand and breathing life back into it. That's a very godly thing to do, I think. And what happens next is like something right out of an actual myth, I imagine. I mean, I don't know for sure. I'm not really familiar with Norse mythology or Loki in Norse mythology, but I'm just saying it could be. Loki. Because Loki is now taking all of these universes and he's walking down this path towards the Citadel at the end of time because this opening opens up for him. And again, the imagery, he's walking, he's got all these universes that are going on behind him with his horns and his cloak and the green light everywhere. I was like, holy shit. And the dramatic music's kicking on. Natalie Holt, again, big win this season because the score was awesome in the show. And finally, Loki claims his throne. He sits down on the throne and he brings all these timelines together and goes, bah! And it zooms out and out and out, and we see that all these timelines have taken a new shape. It's the shape of this big tree thing. I was like, holy shit, I knew what that was. It was Yggdrasil, or as Johann Schmidt called it, Yggdrasil. Yeah, that actually is from Norse mythology, and I was like, oh my god. Loki taken after his Norse roots, his Asgardian roots, forming the multiverse after that. That is so cool. Like the dead timelines on the bottom being the roots and then branching out and growing into the tree with the branches, and Loki being the loom, the trunk in the middle. Just that imagery and the symbolism is just, it's genius. And I love it. That's just, yeah. And also, one thing that made the scene even better was the utter silence of it all. Like, when it's zooming out, you don't hear a damn thing. It just lets you bask in this moment for a good, couple of minutes, it feels like. That was a great choice, because it just lets you think about what you're seeing. Again, best moment in Phase 5 so far. In fact, it might be one of my favorite moments in the entire multiverse saga so far. Yeah, I think it is. Because it's just so good. Because now Loki has made his sacrifice play. He's now, I guess, gonna dedicate his entire existence to protecting the multiverse. I mean, talk about the ultimate redemption from a villain to a hero right there. That's awesome. And so now we have our epilogue. The Time Variance Authority is alive and well. They create a new Miss Minutes, which is great to see, because I do love Miss Minutes. Hopefully she won't try to kill them all. I don't know, I guess we'll see. Mobius leaves the TVA though. Yeah, he's just like, I need a break. I was like, good for him. He's been through a lot these past couple of seasons. He deserves a break. He needs some time on some timelines. Enjoy your jet ski, my dude. You have earned it. You deserve it. And we also see Renslayer after getting pruned. She does, in fact, wake up in the void. And again, I was like, holy shit. And we see this purple glow start to emanate towards her. I was like, at first, I was like, I don't know what that is. What is this? But then after watching some videos on it, I was like, maybe that is Eliath. Maybe Eliath's just gonna kill her. I don't know. The scene kind of leaves it open. I do want to know what ends up happening to Renslayer here. I don't know if we'll ever find out. Marvel's been leaving a lot of open ends these days, pretty much since the multiverse saga started. Maybe we'll come back around to this. Maybe we won't. I don't know. Only time will tell, I guess. And our final shot of this season is of Loki on his throne as protector of the multiverse. What a fantastic shot to end the series on, because this might very well be the series finale. Seeing as how this final episode does share a name with the pilot episode, the very first episode of season 1. And now Loki has found his glorious purpose. That's awesome. Yeah, just great way to end this. I love it. Guys, in the end, Loki Season 2 is the best installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Phase 5 so far by a mile. And actually, I think everyone's in agreement on that. Like, the 4 other titles we've gotten now have been divisive. But this, people are generally saying is pretty good. I'll admit, for me, it did have kind of a rough start, but once it picked up about halfway through, it kept that momentum going, and the season finale was just awesome. Although the fact that there are no credit scenes whatsoever, that threw me off guard. I was like, nah, come on, wait, really? Yeah, it kind of bummed me out. It's an MCU tradition to have credit scenes. What, just the first episode of the season had one? Not the finale? Come on. But yeah, I am pretty sure that this is the end of the Loki series. But after seeing Tom Hiddleston talk about it, I was like, could this be the end of Loki in the MCU? Like, this is the end of him? Is this the last time Tom Hiddleston's ever gonna play this character? Because he said this is like the end of his 14-year saga of his life. If that is the case, then holy shit, what a way to go out, dude. Giving us one of the best Loki scenes ever in the MCU, because it is. That's great. So if this truly is the last time we're ever gonna see Tom Hiddleston as Loki in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, then I shall say, farewell, God of Mischief, you are now the God of Stories. You are honestly one of the best characters the MCU has ever had, right up there with Iron Man, and we will miss you. And so now I'm left to wonder, now that Loki is in charge of protecting the multiverse, what happens next? Like, how will the Council of Kangs see this? Will something be done about that? I imagine this will tie into Avengers the Kang Dynasty, in which case, shit, maybe we will see Loki one more time. I have no idea. And so that is what I will ask you. First of all, Loki Season 2, Episode 6, Glorious Purpose. Have you watched it yet? What are your thoughts on it? Which season of Loki do you like more, Season 1 or Season 2? What was your favorite episode of the whole thing, favorite character, favorite moment? And what are your theories and predictions for what will happen as a result of Loki's actions in this finale? That's what I want to know most. So whatever you think about any of the questions I just asked, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, Thank you for subscribing. Peace!